Moving on to some results then, one of the companies coming out with very good set of numbers have been Kiran Mazumdar Shaw's Biocon, and Kiran is joining us now to talk more about numbers. She's of course the executive chairperson of both Biocon and Biocon Biologics. Kiran, thank you very much for joining us today on your results. But before I come to discussing your numbers, let me ask you about the much talked about topic, and that is your debt reduction and your current debt levels. Walk us through your plans to reduce your debt from here on. The street is expecting some further stake sales and similar transactions in that direction in order to bring your debt levels lower.
Well, as we have been progressively reducing our net debt from the time we initiated or completed the transaction with Viatris. And, it did involve a stake sale in Syngene. It also involved, the enrollment of the Kotak investment. Most recently, we have also, raised, funds from Edelweiss Capital. And of course, we've also got Serum to basically convert its loan to equity. So we're now down to a very, very comfortable 1.25 billion net debt. But having said that, we would like to reduce it further just to give us the comfort and flexibility to really address certain business development opportunities. Because otherwise we are comfortably placed to service the debt. But I'm one who always likes a little bit of elbow room to do other things rather than just servicing a debt. So I think that's the way we're looking at it. We are trying to raise maybe an additional $300 million or thereabouts to further reduce this debt. We are progressing well with various interested investors, and we will sort of obviously share it with you as and when we conclude these investment transactions.
Okay, so you hinted about, doing some fundraise to manage your debt, but could you give us a bit more details? What could be the quantum of stake sale in Biocon Biologics, and is there any further monetization lined up in Syngene?
Well, I've categorically said that there is going to be no further stake sale in Syngene. As far as Biocon Biologics is concerned, as you know, we saved almost a 10% a shareholding for Biocon in Biocon Biologics by withdrawing from the Serum deal. Serum now has about 5% stakeholding in Biologics, and it gives us an opportunity to look at a maximum 10% offer from Biocon for Biologics to other equity investors. I don't think we will obviously do the complete 10%, but I think it could settle anywhere between probably 60 to 64%.
Okay, thanks for providing that clarity. To 64% is where your stake will stagnate when it comes to BBL. But for this Biocon Biologics, what kind of player are you looking at to do the stake sale? Is it going to be a sale through the open market? Are you looking at a private equity investment or perhaps a strategic partner?
So it is, it's largely private equity funds.
Kiran, we understand that there might be some inspections lined up that might delay some of the launches. Could you clarify about them?
No, I think what we're saying is that we are expecting an inspection in Malaysia soon, which hopefully then will actually enable us to launch Aspart in FY24. We expect an inspection to happen probably later in the year in Bangalore that will help us to launch even bevacizumab, hopefully in FY24. So that actually is an add-on to the numbers that we had projected internally for our FY24 numbers. Adalimumab, of course, is the biggest awaited event for us. 1st of July is the launch, and we are very confident that we will have a decent launch. And that will obviously figure in the numbers this fiscal. Our other programs and products are doing well. We expect an uptick in Semglee in the US. We are hoping to actually increase our market share in Europe, Canada, and other advanced markets now that the Viatris business has come into our hands. And I think there's a huge growing demand in emerging markets for all our biosimilars. So we are looking at FY24 as a good growth year.
So good growth year, FY24, but give us a bit more specific in terms of numbers.
Well, as I mentioned, we have exited FY23 on a billion-dollar trajectory. And I think that's something which we guided for, and we have delivered on that trajectory. Now, going forward, obviously, we will build on this $1 billion. Of course, we had guided the street that we were looking at a $1.8 billion top line, given the Serum deal that we had entered into. But now that we've withdrawn from the Serum deal, you can actually deduct $400 million from that number. And we will try and see how close we can get to the 1.4 billion, this fiscal. And of course, we are guiding for a 35 to 40%, core EBITDA margin, which I think is doable. And I think in terms of EBITDA, we have guided for a 25 to 29% or 25 to 30%, and I think we will be aiming for that.
Mm-hmm. That was exactly the next questions of ours. Your R&D levels, that had seen quite a spike in FY23. Talk to us about where R&D could be heading as a percentage of overall business going forward.
So I think this is what we are trying to focus on. This largely pertains to the biologics business, but of course, I'm looking at it as a group level target as well. But as I said, R&D spends have been extremely high this fiscal for FY23. As you know, at a FY23 level, it is 1,119 crores, which has really jumped over almost doubled from last fiscal. And when you even look at the quarter, it has doubled this quarter to a very high extent. R&D spends have gone up from 191 to 342 crores this quarter. So we have in last fiscal had a 14% contribution from R&D, which I mentioned that we would like to contain it at 12%.
Okay, Ms. Shaw, on that note, we'll let you go. Really appreciate you joining us on the show today and talking to us about the specifics of the stake sale that might be on the anvil and what will happen to the company's growth outlook.